الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إله الأولين والآخرين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله المبعوث رحمة للعالمين اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ونبيك محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فنحن اليوم مع حديث عظيم من أحاديث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Today, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to deal with an extremely important hadith from the words in the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
وهذا الحديث تضمن وصية من وصايا الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم في أواخر حياته.
And this hadith inculcates and includes some of the wasiyah, or some words of advice that the Prophet ﷺ gave to this ummah at the end of his life.
ولا شك أن الرجل العالم العاقل إذا أوصى في أيامه الأخيرة فإنه سيوصي بما هو الأهم والأعظم والأحرى بالاهتمام والعناية.
And no doubt the intelligent man, if he's going to give people advice, especially during the last moments of his life, then no doubt he's going to choose those issues and those topics to advise about that are extremely important and imperative.
ورسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم هو أكمل الناس وأعظمهم عقلا وأوفرهم علما وأتقاهم لله عز وجل وأنصحهم لأمته.
And in this regard, the Nabi of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most complete individual, the most intelligent individual, the one who sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to give the people exactly what they need in a moment like this.
عن العرباض بن سارية قال وعظنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يوما بعد صلاة الغداة.
The companion whose name is Al-Irbad ibn Sariyah, may Allah be pleased with him, he said one day the Prophet ﷺ gave us a speech and exhortation after Salat al-Fajr.
موعظة بليغة.
He gave us an exhortation that was extremely articulate and effective.
ذرفت منها العيون.
It caused the eyes to shed tears.
ووجلت منها القلوب.
And the hearts became fearful and they trembled.
فقال رجل.
A man said,
إن هذه موعظة مودع.
Verily, this is like a farewell speech.
فماذا تعهد إلينا يا رسول الله؟
So what do you advise us to do, Ya Rasulullah?
قال
He said,
أوصيكم بتقوى الله.
I advise you people to fear Allah,
والسمع والطاعة.
and that you listen and you obey the leader.
وإن عبد حبشي.
Even if the leader happens to be an Ethiopian slave.
فإنه من يعش منكم
For verily the one from amongst you who lives
يرى اختلافا كثيرا.
who lives for a long time is going to see a lot of ikhtilaf.
وإياكم ومحدثات الأمور.
And beware of the innovated issues in the religion.
فإنها ضلالة.
But verily the innovated issues, they are going astray.
فمن أدرك ذلك منكم
So whoever from amongst you sees that time,
فعليه بسنتي
then you should take my sunnah
وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين
and the rightly guided khulafa
عضوا عليها بالنواجذ.
after me, and take this sunnah and bite down on it and hold it with your molars.
وفي لفظ
In another narration of the hadith,
وإياكم ومحدثات الأمور.
beware of the newly invented matters in the religion.
فإن كل محدثة بدعة.
For every newly invented matter is an innovation,
وكل بدعة ضلالة.
and every innovation is going astray.
وفي لفظ آخر
In another form of the hadith,
قد تركتكم على البيضاء.
verily he said to the people, I have left you on a religion that is clear, white, manifest.
ليلها كنهارها.
Its night is similar to its day.
لا يزيغ عنها بعدي إلا هالك.
No one goes away from this right, clear way that I left, except that he will be destroyed.
من يعش منكم فسيرى اختلافا كثيرا.
Whoever lives from amongst you for a long time is going to see a lot of ikhtilaf.
فعليكم بما عرفتم من سنتي.
So you people have to take what you know from my sunnah.
وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين.
And also what you know from the sunnah of the rightly guided khulafa.
عضوا عليها بالنواجذ.
Hold on to that with your molars.
وعليكم بالطاعة.
And you should obey the leader.
وإن عبدا حبشيا.
Even if he happens to be an Ethiopian slave.
فإنما المؤمن
But verily the believer
كالجمل الأنف.
is like the 1,000 camels. Verily the mu'min is like the camel that is obedient.
حيثما قيد انقاد.
Wherever you drive that camel, he'll follow the direction that you take him in.
نعم. هذا هو لفظ الحديث.
That's the different variations of this hadith.
وهذا الحديث قد أخرجه الإمام أحمد في مسنده.
This hadith has been collected by Imam Ahmed in his Musnad.
وابن ماجه والترمذي وأبو داود.
And Ibn Majah, and Tirmidhi, and Abu Dawud in their Sunan.
وهذا الحديث ليس في الصحيحين صحيح البخاري وصحيح مسلم.
But the hadith, although it's authentic, it's not in Sahih Bukhari nor is it in Sahih Muslim. But
لكن العلماء حكموا بصحة هذا الحديث.
The scholars of hadith have graded this hadith as being sahih, authentic.
سأذكر بعض الأسماء.
Now I'm going to mention some of the names.
الترمذي
like
البزار
الترمذي, Imam al-Bazzar,
ابن حبان الحاكم أبو نعيم,
Ibn Hibban al-Hakim Abu Nu'aym,
ابن تيمية ابن القيم الذهبي,
Ibn Qayyim, Ibn Taymiyyah, al-Imam al-Dhahabi,
والألباني وغير هؤلاء.
and al-Imam al-Albani and other than those ulama rahimahumullah jami'an.
أحد العلماء وهو ابن القطان الفاسي.
There's a scholar, his name is Ibn al-Qattan al-Fasi.
توفي سنة 628.
He died in the year 628
من الهجرة.
after the Hijrah.
أعل هذا الحديث بجهالة بعض رواته.
He said that this hadith is weak because in the chain of narration he claimed that there are some people who are not known.
ولكن العلماء ردوا عليه كابن الملقن وغيره.
But some scholars, they refuted that statement like Al-Imam Ibn Mulaqqan, and they said it was authentic.
وذكروا للحديث طرقا وشواهد.
And Ibn Mulaqqan and those ulama, they mentioned that this hadith has many different narrations.
لماذا ذكرت هذا التفصيل في تصحيح هذا الحديث؟
So why did the Sheikh explain all of those details about this particular hadith?
لأن بعض الناس في هذا العصر قد طعنوا في صحة هذا
The
الحديث.
reason is because during this time, this era, some people, they have criticized this hadith as being not authentic.
علما أن العلماء تلقوا هذا الحديث بالقبول جيلا بعد جيل.
Although the scholars of Islam, they have accepted this hadith from one another, generation after generation after generation.
ذكروه في كتب أصول الفقه.
They mentioned this hadith in the books of Usul al-Fiqh
وكتب العقيدة.
and Aqidah books.
وكتب النهي عن البدع.
And those books that talk about the prohibition of innovations.
احتج به كثير من العلماء وشرحه جماعة من العلماء.
And many ulama use this hadith as a dalil for proven points, and they explain this hadith in many places.
وذكره النووي في الأربعين النووية.
Al-Imam al-Nawawi in his book 40 Hadith, he has also brought this hadith.
فهذا الحديث وإن لم يكن في الصحيحين.
So although this hadith is not in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim,
فهو من جهة قبول العلماء له وتصحيحه والاعتماد عليه وشرحه والعناية به.
still despite that fact it's not in Bukhari Muslim, the ulama, they have accepted it. The ulama have graded it as being authentic. The ulama have i'timad upon it and they rely upon this particular hadith and they mention in many of their books.
من هذه الجهة هذا الحديث يصل إلى مستوى الأحاديث التي في الصحيحين.
So from this angle, all of that was mentioned. What was mentioned, it reaches the level of the hadith that's in Bukhari and Muslim, although it's not in Bukhari and Muslim.
وهذا يسمى عند العلماء خبر الواحد إذا تلقته الأمة بالقبول.
This is what the scholars say, that the khabar wahid, like one hadith, if the whole ummah were to accept that hadith, if we were to accept it, then it reaches the level of being accepted.
وهذا بخلاف الحديث الذي يختلف فيه فيصححه بعضهم ويضعفه آخرون.
In contrast to another hadith, type of hadith, in which some scholars said that it was authentic and other scholars said that it wasn't authentic, and there's like a conflict in the determination.
ولهذا فإن الطعن في هذا الحديث
For that reason, ikhwani, to criticize this hadith
أو التوقف فيه
or being reluctant, saying, I don't know, I'm not gonna say sahih or da'if.
قول منكر لا يمكن أن يقبل أبدا.
This statement, to say the hadith is da'if or to say I don't know, this is a statement that is munkar. It's not accepted and it's not something that's a good thing.
العرباض بن سارية
This companion, Al-Irbad ibn Sariya,
من الصحابة المشهورين
he's from the well-known companions
ومن فضلاء الصحابة
and from the virtuous, noble, illustrious companions.
وكان قديما في الإسلام جدا
And he accepted al-Islam a long time ago.
ومات في الشام.
And he died in the area of Asham.
الآن سنذكر نبذة في شرح الحديث.
Now inshallah we're going to take some points in explaining the hadith.
ثم بعد ذلك يعني نركز على الفوائد والمسائل التي يمكن أن نستنبطها من هذا الحديث.
And then after that we're going to take some of the benefits and some of the issues that come out of the hadith that can be extracted and benefited from.
أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وعظهم موعظة بليغة.
The Prophet ﷺ gave them a strong exhortation, very effective.
بعد صلاة الغداء.
After the Salat of Fajr.
الغداة وهذه هي صلاة الفجر وتسمى صلاة الغداة أو صلاة الفجر أو صلاة الصبح.
So one of the names, Salat al-Ghada, al-Fajr, has different synonyms. You could call it the Salat of al-Subh, the morning. You could call it Salat al-Ghada. You could call it Salat al-Fajr.
والموعظة هي النصح والتذكير.
And this exhortation or the maw'idah, it is a form of giving advice and reminding, a remembrance.
التذكير بعواقب الأمور.
With a remembrance, telling people about the effects of things that you do. The effect is going to be this, the effect is going to be that.
حتى يفكر الإنسان ويعتبر ويهيئ نفسه لما يخبر به من الترغيب والترهيب.
So this maw'idah, this exhortation, it is an advice that you give people, telling them about the consequences of things so that the person can get himself together and make preparations to deal with whatever will come as a result of that.
وكلام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان بليغا.
And the speech of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very baligh.
البلاغة إيصال المعاني المقصودة إلى قلوب السامعين بأحسن صورة.
Baligh means eloquent. And eloquence in the language of the Arabs, al-balagha, is the ability that someone has to speak about something and he relays the message to their minds in a way that they comprehend it totally and absolutely.
والبلاغة ليست بكثرة الكلام وطوله.
Balagha is not having a lot of speech, just a lot of words and a lot of kalam, rhetoric.
بل بالألفاظ القليلة والمعاني الكثيرة والعميقة.
But instead, al-balagha, it is when a person uses a few words and he's eloquent in the usage of those words and economical to the point that the people understand what is he trying to relate to them from the message.
وقد كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقصر خطبه ولا يطيلها.
An example of this is that our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he gave a khutbah Friday Eid, when he gave a khutbah, the khutbah used to be very, very short. The words were not many.
ذرفت منها العيون ووجلت منها القلوب.
The eyes shed tears and the hearts were trembling.
انظروا إلى حال أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لما سمعوا هذه الموعظة المؤثرة.
Ikhwani, pay attention and consider and concentrate on the condition of the companions radiyallahu anhum when they heard this exhortation and how it impacted and affected their hearts.
فإنهم لم يصيحوا ولم يلطموا ولم يرقصوا وإنما ذرفت عيونهم ووجلت قلوبهم بهدوء وسكينة وأدب.
The companions, unlike some people, when they heard the kalam of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they didn't start screaming, they didn't start dancing, they didn't start moving around as if they were crazy people, but instead they listened in a calm way, and the body naturally shed tears and their hearts became affected.
كما قال ربنا سبحانه عن المؤمنين الصادقين.
And this is what Allah Ta'ala has said in describing the truthful believers.
إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم.
Verily, the believers are those people who, if Allah is mentioned, their hearts become fearful and they tremble.
وإذا تليت عليهم آياته.
And if His signs, His ayat are read to them,
زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون.
That increases them in iman and they totally rely on Allah with tawakkul.
فإذا هكذا كان حال أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهم أتقى الناس بعد الأنبياء والرسل.
So this was the condition of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, and they had the most taqwa of any of the human beings after the prophets and the messengers.
فالذي يعبر عن تأثره بالقرآن.
So the one who, when he hears the Quran, when he reads the Quran and it affects him, the way he expresses himself,
أو الذكر والدعاء,
or the way that he is affected when he hears dhikr or a dua,
بالصياح والعياط والرقص.
the one who hears the Quran and the dhikr and the dua, the way that it affects him is that he dances and he's screaming, going crazy.
فإن ذلك يدل على جهله وضعف نفسه. نعم.
The one who the Quran and the dhikr and the dua affects him that way, dancing, screaming, going crazy, that's a dalil that something is wrong with his head and something is wrong with his level of religion.
قالوا كأنها موعظة مودع.
Back to the hadith. The companion, he said, this statement, this exhortation, speech of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is as if it is a farewell speech. He's saying goodbye to us.
وهذا يدل على ذكاء الصحابة وفهمهم لكلام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ومغزاه.
That statement of the companions is an indication of how intelligent they were. How intelligent they were to understand this is a farewell speech.
أي فهموا من حرص النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
They understood from the ardent desire, the attention that the Prophet paid to this issue sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
أنه يعني قريب التوديع لهم.
that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was soon after going to depart from them.
كما وقع في من التعريض بذلك في خطبة حجة الوداع.
Similar to that is when he made the farewell Hajj and he gave them a khutbah doing that Hajj.
حجة الوداع.
The Hajj, the farewell Hajj.
عندما قال لا أدري لعلي لا ألقاكم بعد عامي هذا.
When he wanted to speak to them at that Hajj, the last one, he said to his companions, I don't know if I'm going to see you people after this.
فربما حديث العرباض هذا الذي نحن بصدده.
So this hadith that we're dealing with today, the hadith of Irbad ibn Sariya, maybe
وقع بعد حجة الوداع أو في تلك الفترة عندما كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في أواخر أيامه.
In terms of time frame, it is possible, highly possible, that this hadith that we're dealing with today also happened during that time of the farewell Hajj. When the Prophet gave that kalam, this is probably something that could have been around the same time.
فلهذا طلبوا منه الوصية والنصيحة.
And for that reason, Ikhwani, the companions, they requested from him, give us some advice, Ya Rasulullah, give us a wasiyah.
فقال قد تركتكم على البيضاء.
So he said to them, verily, I have left you people on that which is clear.
هكذا وقع في المصادر الحديث تركتكم على البيضاء.
This is how it came in the masadir or the books of al-hadith, that he said, I have left you on the bayda, and the word bayda just simply means white.
ووقع في كلام في نقل بعض العلماء في كتبهم.
And some of the scholars in their books, when they wrote about this issue,
مثل شيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية رحمه الله,
like Ibn Taymiyyah, Sheikh al-Islam,
زيادة على المحجة البيضاء.
that the other word comes. The hadith in the books of hadith says he left us on the bayda. And some of the books that the scholars wrote, like Ibn Taymiyyah, he put المحجة البيضاء, المحجة البيضاء.
المحجة البيضاء, المحجة الطريق المستقيم.
And المحجة, this word means the way that is mustaqim.
الذي يسهل السير عليه.
The one that the person will arrive to where he's going when he takes that way.
نعم، النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أول ما أوصى بتقوى الله عز وجل.
Hey, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave this advice, the first advice that he gave from the things he mentioned was with the taqwa of Allah, to fear Allah.
وهي وصية الله عز وجل للأولين والآخرين.
And this taqwa, this is what Allah has given advice and commanded the first people and the last people of and with.
كما قال ربنا سبحانه.
As our Lord said,
وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَإِيَّاكُمْ.
Verily we have advised those people who were given the book before you, and we also advise you people
أَنِ اتَّقُوا اللَّهِ.
that you should fear Allah, have taqwa.
لهذا تكرر في القرآن كثيرا الأمر بالتقوى.
That's why in the Quran, the issue of having taqwa and the command to have taqwa, it is repeated with repetition in the Quran.
وأصل التقوى أن يجعل العبد بينه وبين ما يخافه ويحذره وقاية.
Concerning this issue of a taqwa, the linguistic meaning of taqwa, one of the meanings of taqwa is for the slave to put between himself and something that is harmful, something that he's afraid of, to put between himself and that thing a barrier to protect himself.
فتقوى العبد لربه.
So the slave, when it comes to him having taqwa of his Lord, Allah,
أن يجعل بينه وبين ما يخشاه من غضب الله عز وجل وسخطه وعقابه.
is that when the slave knows that there is something that will bring him Allah's anger, Allah's displeasure, Allah's punishment, is for that individual to put between him and all of those things some type of barrier.
أن يجعل وقاية يقيه من ذلك.
So that barrier will protect him from all of those things, Allah's punishment, His anger, and His displeasure.
وقاية تقيه من ذلك وهي أن يفعل أو يقوم بالطاعات ويتجنب المعاصي والمحظورات.
So what is the barrier that protects him from all of that? It's that individual doing those things that are in the obedience of Allah. It's that individual doing those things where he avoids what will cause Allah Azza wa Jal to be angry with him and have displeasure and punish him.
قال ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما.
Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, he said,
المتقون الذين يحذرون من الله عقوبته.
Those people who have taqwa, they are the people who have taqwa, they are the people who put between them and Allah a barrier.
ويرجون رحمته.
And they hope for the rahmah of Allah.
في التصديق بما جاء به.
And as a result of what they believed, what came from Allah.
وقال حسن البصري رحمه الله.
The scholar Al-Hasan al-Basri, he said,
المتقون اتقوا الله فيما حرم عليهم وأدوا ما افترض عليهم.
Those people have a taqwa. They are the people who do those things that have been made fard upon them, and they abandon those things that have been made impermissible on them.
الوصية بالتقوى فيها إصلاح للعلاقة بينك وبين الله عز وجل.
This advice of having a taqwa, the person who has a taqwa, it will rectify the condition of the slave in his connection with Allah.
لأنك إذا اتقيت الله
Because if you feared Allah,
أديت الفرائض واجتنبت المحرمات.
you did what was an obligation upon you and you avoided what was impermissible to you.
وكذلك فيها إصلاح العلاقة بينك وبين الآخرين.
Also, one of the benefits of a taqwa is that if a person has a taqwa, it will rectify the condition in the relationship between him and Allah, and also between him and other people.
لأنك إذا اتقيت الله فيهم لم تظلمهم.
Because if you feared Allah in regards to the other people, you wouldn't oppress them.
وعاملتهم بالعدل والرحمة.
And you dealt with them in a way of justice and in a way of rahmah, ease, mercy.
والمجتمع بعد ذلك يحتاج إلى شيء آخر.
And even with this taqwa, the society needs some more stuff even after the taqwa.
وهو أن يكون آمنا مطمئنا مستقرا.
And that is that society, it needs to have safety and security and stability.
ولهذا أعقب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هذا الأمر بالتقوى أعقبه بالأمر بالسمع والطاعة.
And for that reason, ikhwani, in the Prophet's exhortation, his wasiha sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told the people to have taqwa. And then after that, he told the people to listen and to obey the leader for their safety and security and stability.
ولا شك أن هذا
No doubt this issue here,
هذا مما يجب على المسلم بالنسبة للسمع والطاعة للحاكم المسلم.
this is in regards to the Muslim and the way he deals with the Muslim leader.
فالسمع والطاعة لهذا الحاكم المسلم
Listening and obeying to the Muslim leader
أمر ديني.
is an issue from the religious, a religious issue.
نتقرب إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى به.
It's something that we practice in an attempt to get closer to Allah even.
وكما ذكرت لكم أن فيه ضمانة لأمن المجتمع وسلامته حتى لا تتعاقب الثورات والاغتيالات ويضيع الأمن ويفسد المجتمع.
And as we already mentioned, when you obey the leader and you listen to the Muslim leader, then what happens is safety and security and stability is enjoyed by the community, opposed to assassinations, murders, revolts that bring a lot of problems.
هنا قد يسأل بعض الإخوة
Now some of the brothers at this point, they may ask the question,
إذا لم يكن الحاكم مسلما أو إذا كنت في مجتمع غير إسلامي.
what about if the leader is not a Muslim? Or we're in a society of non-Muslims.
هنا ليست بينك وبين الحاكم علاقة على أساس ديني.
Now if this is the case, then your relationship with the leader is not a religious relationship. It's not a religious relationship.
أعني البيعة الشرعية.
Meaning, you didn't give him the pledge of allegiance or the bay'ah.
وهو أصلا لا يطلب منك ذلك لأنه غير مسلم.
And the non-Muslim anyway, he doesn't ask you for a bay'ah, pledge of allegiance anyway.
ولا تصح ولاية كافر على مسلم.
And it's not correct for the non-Muslim to be the wali over Muslims. It's not something that's in the religion.
ولكن هذا لا يعني
But that doesn't mean
أن الإنسان يكون عند هذا حرا طليقا ويعني يتصرف كما يشاء ويصبح الأمر فوضى.
That doesn't mean because he's a non-Muslim and he didn't take the bay'ah from you and you didn't give him the bay'ah that the Muslim has complete, absolute freedom in this issue to do whatever he wants to do, create confusion and madness.
بل هناك أحكام شرعية أخرى.
But there are other rules and regulations, ahkam in the religion,
تنظم علاقتك بالدولة التي تعيش فيها.
that organize for you your relationship between the government in which you live under.
الحكومة غير المسلمة وكذلك المجتمع غير المسلم.
Those other ahkam, rules and regulations, they show you and they govern how you are to deal with a state that's not Muslim or a society that's not Islamic.
وبالتالي
And as a result of that,
فإنك حتى في هذه الحالة تعيش بنظام وانتظام وليس في فوضى.
so because of those other ahkam that show us how to deal in a non-Islamic society and with a non-Muslim leader, it shows us how we're still going to live in the system and we're not going to be creators of confusion and madness.
فلا تكذب ولا تغدر ولا تخون.
So you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't be al-ghadr, and you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't betray the trust. Ghadr wa ish?
الخيانة.
And you shouldn't be treacherous or trick them.
ولا تسرق ولا تقتل.
You shouldn't steal, you shouldn't murder.
وتلتزم بالأنظمة التي هي في صالح المجتمع كله.
And the system that they put down that's in the best interest of the whole society, you should get with the program.
وكثير وقد شرحنا كثيرا من هذه الأحكام والواجبات في المؤتمر الماضي في العام الماضي.
And the Sheikh said that we have explained a lot of these ahkam in the previous conference last year.
فهي مهمة جدا ويجب عليكم العناية بها.
And what was mentioned about this issue is very, very important, and we should give our concern and our consideration to this affair.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال:
The Nabi, he said,
إذا وقع الاختلاف والفرقة,
if ikhtilaf and divisions, if they happen in this ummah,
فعليكم بسنتي.
then you have to take my sunnah.
وعليكم,
and you also have to,
جار ومجرور,
this aspect of the words linguistically, the Sheikh is explaining something that's going on linguistically.
تحول إلى فعل الأمر.
That the way that the Prophet said it in the Arabic language, it turns into, by the mere way of the way he said it, is to be understood that he's commanding you to do something.
أي إلزموا سنتي.
Meaning, if there's ikhtilaf and there's furqa, divisions, then take my sunnah means he's commanding you. Take his sunnah, is commanded from him.
وفي لفظ كما ذكرنا فعليكم بما عرفتم من سنتي.
And in another narration, as we mentioned, that helps us to comprehend the same thing, that is an amr, a command, is that it said alaykum, that you have to take my sunnah.
وهذا اللفظ ورد في إحدى الروايات.
And this alaykum فعليكم بما عرفتم, this is in another hadith that has been transmitted to us.
وهو لفظ مقبول.
And it is acceptable, this form of the hadith.
لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أمرنا في أحاديث كثيرة
because there are many hadith where the Prophet commanded us sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do this.
أن نتثبت في أحاديثه ونحذر من الكذب عليه أو رواية ذلك.
So there are many hadith where the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us about lying on him, and he commanded us to search and have tathabbut to make sure that he said was being claimed he said.
ثم ذكر سنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين.
After all of these things that have been mentioned, ikhwani, fearing Allah, obeying the leader, taking the sunnah, his sunnah, after all of that he mentioned, take the sunnah of the rightly guided khulafa.
الراشد هو الذي أصاب وجه الأمر والطريق والهدى.
He called them the khulafa who are rashidun. He said that the rashid, this word, the person is rashid when he has hit his mark, his goal, his objective in the way, the best way possible.
والراشد ضد الغاوي.
And the rashid is the opposite of the one who's mixed up, confused.
الغاوي هو من عرف الحق وعمل بخلافه.
And he gave the definition of the ghawi as the individual who knows the truth, but he did the opposite of the truth.
والمهدي هو الذي شمله الهدى.
And the Prophet ﷺ called them the Rashid, and he also called them the ones who are Mahdi, rightly guided. He the one who has huda, guidance connected to him.
أي أن الله تعالى يهديهم للحق ولا يضلهم.
Meaning Allah guided them to the truth and He doesn't send them astray.
إذن عندنا الراشد الذي عرف الحق واتبعه.
So we have the superlative, the description that the Khulafa Rashid, and he's the one who knows the haqq, he knows the haqq and he works by it.
والغاوي عرف الحق ولم يتبعه.
And the opposite of that is the ghawi, not the Rashid, the ghawi. He knows the truth, but he does something else.
والضال لم يعرف الحق بالكلية.
As for the one who was dal, like dalin, he's the one who doesn't know the truth at all.
فكل راشد فهو مهتدي.
So every person who is Rashid, knows the truth, works by it, then he is necessitates that he is also guided, he's Mahdi.
وهؤلاء الخلفاء الراشدون
These rightly guided khulafa
الذين ذكرهم النبي صلى الله عليه
that the
وسلم
Prophet mentioned sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
اختلف العلماء هل هم الأربعة
they have ikhtilaf, the scholars. Are they the four?
أم يشمل كل خليفة راشد؟
Or does this hadith include every Khalifa of the Muslim who is rightly guided?
والصواب أن المقصود الأربعة فقط.
But the truth and the strongest opinion is that this hadith is referring to the four khulafa of the companions.
أبو بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي رضي الله تعالى عنهم.
And they are the ones you just heard.
لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في حديث آخر
Because there's another hadith that the Prophet said in it,
في السنن
in the books of the hadith, the Sunnah,
الخلافة بعدي 30 سنة.
the khilafah after I die is going to be for the duration of 30 years.
ثم تكون ملكا.
And then after those 30 years, there's going to be a kingship, kingdom.
فتضمنت مدة خلافة هؤلاء الأربعة
So
الذين ذكرناهم
those four companions, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, their time span of being the khulafa,
هذه المدة تضمنت خلافتهم جميعا.
it was for a 30-year period. The four of them collectively, it was a 30-year period.
وذكر هذا كثير من العلماء منهم ابن عبد البر رحمه الله والآجري وغيرهم.
Many scholars have mentioned this, that the Khulafa Rashidun in this hadith are those four companions, and it's because of that hadith of 30 years it's going to be Khilafah. From those scholars who mentioned this was Al-Imam Ibn Abdul Barr and Al-Imam Al-Ajurri.
ولما قال عليكم بسنتي.
Now when the Prophet told the people, you have to take my sunnah,
فهذا أمر كافي.
this statement and command by itself is enough.
لكنه صلى الله عليه وسلم لما كان في موقف الوصية
But the Nabi, when he was in this position of giving this advice to these people,
أراد أن يؤكد
he wanted to emphasize
ويثبت هذا المعنى.
and he wanted to cement it, this meaning, he wanted to cement it to the people.
لهذا قال عضوا عليها بالنواجذ.
So it was enough for him just to say to them, take my sunnah, take the sunnah of the Khulafa Rashidin. But he didn't just stop there. He wanted to cement it in their mind, so he said to them, hold on to it with your molars, bite down on it.
والنواجذ الأضراس.
The word that he's using means the molars in your mouth.
فهذا فيه مزيد من التحريض على التمسك بالسنة.
The usage of these words, this simile, this metaphor of the Prophet ﷺ, it was an additional emphasis on the importance of this affair.
وقال وإياكم ومحدثات الأمور.
Then he went on to say, you people need to beware of the newly invented matters.
والمقصود بهذا المحدثات في الدين.
The goal and the objective of what's being referred to here are the newly invented matters in the religion.
لهذا قال فإن كل بدعة ضلالة.
For that reason he said, every bid'ah is going astray.
والبدعة ما أحدث مما لا أصل له في الشريعة.
And the meaning of bid'ah, what is a bid'ah? The bid'ah, the innovation, is that thing that has been invented, it has been introduced, and it didn't have any replica or any similar thing to it. It was never there before. New, brand new, spanking new thing.
لا أصل له في الشريعة يدل عليه من كتاب أو سنة أو إجماع.
It doesn't have any proof for its origin from the kitab or from the sunnah or from the consensus of the ulama.
وهذا المعنى ثابت في أحاديث أخرى للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And this definition or meaning of the bid'ah is something that is established in the hadith of the Prophet. He himself has explained this to us.
قال ابن رجب رحمه الله.
The great scholar in Islam, Ibn Rajab, he said,
كل بدعة ضلالة من جوامع الكلم لا يخرج عنه شيء.
Every innovation is astray. This is from the Jawami al-Kalim. This is from the special ability that the Prophet had to articulate things. And nothing goes outside of this realm.
وهو شبيه بقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم من أحدث في أمرنا هذا ما ليس منه فهو رد.
And the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, every bid'ah is going astray, is similar to his other statement, the hadith, anyone who introduces something into this religion, our affair that's not from it, it will be rejected.
فكل من أحدث شيئا ونسبه إلى الدين ولم يكن له أصل من الدين.
So every time someone invents something and introduces it into the religion and it doesn't have any origin in the religion,
أصل يرجع إليه.
It's not an origin that you can go back to prove that thing's presence.
فهو ضلالة والدين بريء منه.
Then that's an indication. When that happens, it's an indication and a proof that that thing is astray. It's astray.
نعم. هذا ما يتعلق بشرح الحديث عموما.
So ikhwani, this is what is connected to this hadith, generally speaking.
وبقي عندنا يعني 40 دقيقة.
Now we have,
بقيت عندنا.
inshallah, 40 minutes.
فنذكر بعض الفوائد والمسائل المستنبطة من هذا الحديث.
In this time frame, inshallah, we're going to mention some of the benefits and some of the things that we can extract from this particular hadith.
أول ذلك
The first benefit or the first issue that we want to mention
أن هذا الحديث من دلائل نبوة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
is that, ikhwani, this hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is from the proofs of his prophecy sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
من يعش منكم فسيرى اختلافا كثيرا.
He said in the hadith, anyone from amongst you who lives for a long time, he's going to see a lot of ikhtilaf.
وأخبر بهذا الصحابة الكرام ولم يكونوا قد اختلفوا.
The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ikhwani, he told the companions about this reality and there was not a lot of ikhtilaf with them at that time.
وتحقق هذا الاختلاف قبل انقضاء عهد الصحابة.
And this ikhtilaf that the Prophet talked about sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it came before the Sahabas before their era had expired. It came at the end of their time.
سواء الاختلاف السياسي
Whether it was ikhtilaf of politics,
مثل الثورة على عثمان رضي الله تعالى عنه,
like the people who made the revolt and the people who were fighting against Uthman ibn Affan,
والخلاف بين علي ومعاوية رضي الله تعالى عنهما,
and the ikhtilaf that transpired between Ali ibn Abi Talib and Muawiyah, may Allah be pleased with both of them,
أو الاختلاف في الدين
or the ikhtilaf in the religion itself,
مثل ظهور الشيعة والخوارج,
like the Shiite where they came and the Khawarij they came,
ثم القدرية في آخر زمن الصحابة.
and then the group, the Qadariyah, they came during the last time of the presence, during the companions.
لهذا ذكر البيهقي رحمه الله وغيره.
For that reason, Al-Imam al-Bayhaqi, he mentioned, and other than Bayhaqi,
هذا الحديث في دلائل النبوة في كتاب دلائل النبوة.
Al-Imam al-Bayhaqi has a book called Dala'il al-Nabuwa, the proofs of the Prophet's reality that he was a Nabi. So Al-Imam al-Bayhaqi wrote this book, he wrote this hadith and put it in that book as a proof and indication of the Prophet's, this proves he was a Nabi.
وفي إخباره صلى الله عليه وسلم بوقوع الاختلاف والتفرق في الأمة أحاديث كثيرة وربما ذكرنا بعضها خلال هذه الأيام.
And there are many hadith, ikhwani, concerning the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, other than this hadith, in which he mentioned there was going to be ikhtilaf and tafarruq in this ummah. We mentioned them already.
وفي هذا حكمة عظيمة.
And in that is a great wisdom hikmah.
ودلائل جليلة على صدق نبوة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
The fact that he told us in all of these hadith about this ikhtilaf and tafarruq, it shows the truthfulness of his nubuwah.
لأن هذه الخلافات بدأت والمسلمون لم يخرجوا بعد من الجزيرة العربية وبعض المناطق المحيطة بها.
Because these points of differing, these things that happened at that point in time when the Prophet told the people about these issues, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Muslims had not gone outside of the Arabian Gulf yet. They hadn't gone outside of the Arabian Gulf, where obviously it's going to be more ikhtilaf. So it's showing the truthfulness of his prophecy.
فلو كان العرب على قلب رجل واحد بعد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
If, and this was the case, the Arabs, they were united, like they all had the heart of one man in their unity. They all were on the same page during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
ثم خرجوا من الجزيرة العربية يفتحون بلاد الشام ومصر وشمال أفريقيا وإيران وما بعدها.
After he died, they went out of the Arabian Peninsula. They went to Sham. They went to Egypt. They went to other parts of Africa and other parts of the world.
عند ذلك لا قال القائلون أن هذا دين العرب والعرب أسسوا هذا الدين من أجل أن يؤسسوا هذه الدولة.
فقدت يا شيخ النقطة ما هي إذا تحدث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بهذه الأشياء.
إذا كان العرب لم يختلفوا بعد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وفتحوا الدنيا لفسر ذلك، فسره المغرضون الأعداء بأن العرب خرجوا من الجزيرة لتأسيس دولة ولفتح البلاد.
So the point that the Sheikh is making is that had the Arabs taken the dawah of Islam from the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they went out and conquered the world and they remained united, then the people would have said that this religion is the religion of the Arabs by itself. But the fact that the Prophet ﷺ told the people and he foretold and prophesied about this ikhtilaf and these things were going to happen, it puts emphasis on his nubuwah.
ولكن حصل هذا الاختلاف والتفرق.
But this ikhtilaf and this tafarruq, it happened.
والمشكلات العظيمة
and the big major problems that transpired
التي كانت كفيلة بأن تقضي على هذا الدين وهو في بدايته ومهده.
These problems, it would have been enough, the ones that came, they would have been enough to destroy the religion altogether because of their great magnitude.
ولكن مع ذلك استمرت الدعوة وانتشر الدين ودخل الناس في دين الله أفواجا.
But despite that fact, the religion continued to spread. With the presence of all of those obstacles and challenges, the religion continued to spread.
فعلمنا بذلك.
So, from all of that, we come to know
أن هذا الدين قد حفظه الله وأيده وأظهره بقوته وإرادته.
that Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one who assisted the religion and He gave it its manifestation with His power and with His ability and with His knowledge.
وليس لأن العرب أسسوا دينا ودولة وأرادوا من خلاله أن يفتحوا البلاد ويحكموا العالم.
And we don't understand from that the Arabs themselves were the ones who just spread their religion, they established their states, their country, their empire, and then they just were pushing their agenda, pushing their program.
هل هذه الفكرة واضحة؟
Is that clear to you, brothers?
هذا من أعظم دلائل صدق نبوة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
This is from the greatest proofs of the truthfulness of the nubuwah, the prophecy of Muhammed sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
كما ذكرنا سابقا أن الاختلاف واقع في الأمة بقدر الله ومشيئته.
As we mentioned before, Ikhwani, about this issue of ikhtilaf. The ikhtilaf that happens in this ummah, it happens as a result of the qadr of Allah and because of the mashi'ah of Allah.
وفي ذلك حكم.
And the fact that Allah allowed it to happen is wisdoms behind it and in it.
منها الابتلاء والامتحان والتمحيص.
From the wisdom is that it is a test, a trial, and also the process of distinguishing the people, good, bad people.
ولهذا لم يأمرنا الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم في هذا الحديث.
And for that reason, the Prophet did not order us, command us in this particular hadith.
ولا في أحاديثه الأخرى.
And the other hadith as well, he didn't order us.
ولا الله عز وجل في كتابه.
Nor did Allah in the book command us or order us.
بمنع وقوع الاختلاف والتفرق.
We haven't been لم يأمرنا
بمنع وقوعه.
So Allah did not order us, nor did the Sunnah prevent us. Neither one of them didn't order us to stop the ikhtilaf from happening.
لأن هذا أمر خارج عن قدرتنا واستطاعتنا.
Because the ikhtilaf is something that is outside of our ability. It can't be prevented. It's from the qadr.
ولكن أمرنا بالأمر الذي نستطيعه ونقدر عليه.
But we have been ordered by the Quran and the Sunnah, we've been ordered to do something that we do have the ability to do.
وهو أن نتجنب الاختلاف والتفرق.
And that is, we've been commanded to avoid the ikhtilaf and to avoid the tafarruq.
ونحذر من أسبابه وأسباب الوقوع فيه.
So we haven't been commanded to stop it from happening, but we've been commanded to avoid it, from falling into it, and being the reason, staying away from the reasons that it's created.
وإذا وقع الخلاف أن نجد له علاجا شرعيا.
And if we find that the khilaf does happen, then we've been commanded to find the ilaj, how to solve the problem.
لهذا أمرنا بالأمر الذي نستطيع أن نقوم به.
So the point is, we've been commanded to do the things that we have the ability to do in regard to this ikhtilaf and the tafarruq.
فقال سبحانه وتعالى.
For an example, Allah, He said,
واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا.
hold on all together to the rope of Allah and do not be divided.
فلما نهانا عن التفرق أعطانا العلاج.
When we have in this ayah been prohibited from having a tafarruq, He give us in that the way to prevent it.
وهو الاعتصام بحبل الله تعالى.
And that is in the ayah, the way that is prevented from falling into it is to hold on all together to the rope of Allah.
من فوائد هذا الحديث,
from the benefits of the hadith,
ما ذكره أبو حاتم ابن حبان رحمه الله تعالى,
is what the great scholar of Al-Islam mentioned, Abu Hatim ibn Hibban.
قال لما ذكر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وقوع الاختلاف,
He said that, Ibn Hibban said, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this hadith talked about the fact that there's going to be ikhtilaf, when he mentioned that in the hadith,
ثم قال فعليكم بسنتي,
and then he told the people that you have to take my sunnah,
دل ذلك
that's a proof
أن من أخذ بهذه السنة
that the person who takes the sunnah
وعمل بها
and works by the sunnah
ولم يعوج على الآراء من على الآراء المختلفة,
and he didn't get into taking the opinions that go against the sunnah,
فهذا من الفرقة الناجية.
then that individual is from the saved sect.
جعلنا الله تعالى منهم.
And the Sheikh made a dua, may Allah make us from the firqat al-najiyat.
يعني هذه النقطة مهمة جدا.
He said this point is really important.
يعني أرجو أن تكون واضحة.
So I hope that it was clear.
أي أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما ذكر وقوع الاختلاف ووقوع الفتنة.
The meaning again is that when the Prophet in this hadith told the people about the ikhtilaf that was going to happen and the fitnas that were going to happen,
ووقوع الفتنة لم يذكر لنا علاجا إلا الاعتصام بسنته فعليكم بسنتي.
The thing that will solve the problem when this fitna transpires, as what the hadith said, and that is to take his sunnah.
فإن قمنا بهذه الوصية وتمسكنا بهذه السنة.
So if we were to take this advice and practice this advice of taking the sunnah,
فنحن على يقين,
then we have no doubt, we're on the yaqeen,
بأننا قد أدينا ما يجب علينا أمام هذه الفتن والاختلافات.
that we have actually completed, we've done what we've been commanded to do in regards to these fitnas that are in front of us.
ولهذا قال شيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية رحمه الله.
So Ibn Taymiyyah, he said as a result of that,
أحق الناس أن تكون الفرقة الناجية.
those people who have more rights than anyone else to be considered from the firqat al-najiyah,
هم أهل الحديث والسنة.
they are the people of Ahl al-Hadith, the people of Ahl al-Sunnah.
الذين ليس لهم متبوع يتعصبون له إلا رسول الله صلى الله عليه
And
وسلم.
Ahl al-Sunnah, Ahl al-Hadith, they are the people who don't have someone who they follow indiscriminately except the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
وهم أعلم الناس بأقواله وأحواله.
And they are the most knowledgeable people, Ahl al-Sunnah, Ahl al-Hadith. They're the most knowledgeable people in regards to the statements of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
من النقاط التي نذكرها من فوائد هذا الحديث.
From the points that we will mention and we can mention from the benefits of this hadith,
أن بعض الناس اعترضوا على هذا الحديث.
some people, ikhwani, they had a problem with this hadith.
أعني من المعاصرين بعض الجهلة الذين يكتبون الكتب بجهل وجرأة على العلم الشريف.
Some people during these days, the contemporary times, they author books in which they have a problem with this hadith, and when they write with ignorance and they write with oppression.
ولهذا السبب ضعفوا هذا الحديث وخالفوا أئمة الإسلام في قبوله كما ذكرنا.
And for that reason, they have graded this hadith, they rated it as being da'if, and they went against what we mentioned already concerning those many scholars who said that the hadith was sahih.
قالوا كيف يأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم باتباع سنة الخلفاء الراشدين.
Those people who have a problem with this hadith from the ignorant one, they said, how is it? Why would the Prophet tell us sallallahu alaihi wasallam to follow the sunnah of the khulafa ar-rashidin? Why?
ونحن نعلم أنه لا حجة في الإسلام إلا لكتاب الله وسنة نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Why would we be commanded to follow them and take their sunnah when we know that there's no proof? The hujjah is in the Quran and the sunnah.
والخلفاء الراشدون غير معصومين.
And the khulafa ar-rashidun, these people, they are not infallible.
والجواب على هذه الشبهة
The answer to this misunderstanding that they have,
أن السياق يدل على المعنى المقصود من هذا الحديث.
is that the way that the hadith actually comes in the words of the Prophet, the way that he put the words forward, you understand and comprehend the goal and the objective behind what he's saying.
فالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذكر الاختلاف والتفرق.
For an example, meaning, the Prophet, he mentioned the ikhtilaf and he mentioned the tafarruq in this hadith.
فعندما أمر بالتمسك بسنته وسنة الخلفاء
So
الراشدين
when he mentioned the tafarruq and the ikhtilaf, and he told the people, take my sunnah and the sunnah of the khulafa ar-rashidin,
دل ذلك
that's a dalil
أن المقصود التمسك بمنهاجهم وطريقتهم.
that the goal and the objective from that kalam of the Nabi is that you have to take the minhaj of the khulafa ar-rashidin. You have to take the path and the way of the khulafa ar-rashidin.
وليس المقصود
And the goal and the objective was not,
أن كل قول
that every single statement
من الخلفاء الراشدين
that came from the Khulafa al-Rashideen,
يعتبر حجة مثل القرآن والحديث.
that every statement that they said or that they made the hadith is not telling that everything that they said has to be followed over the Quran or the Sunnah.
ولكن المقصود
But the goal, the objective here
سنتهم في الاجتماع على الكتاب والسنة.
is that when they all come together collectively, they have the ijtima on the kitab and the sunnah,
وتعظيم دين الله.
and they're exalting and having the deen of Allah in reverence,
ونفي البدع والاستقامة والعدل.
and their prevention of innovation spreading and oppression spreading.
أعني إثبات الاستقامة وليس نفي البدع والسير على طريق الاستقامة والعدل والحق والأخلاق الطيبة والسلوك الحسن.
So their way was to call the people to prevent the innovation, having istiqamah in the deen, spreading justice, preventing oppression.
فهؤلاء الخلفاء الراشدون الذين هم أفضل الصحابة.
So those Khulafa al-Rashidun who are considered to be the best of the companions,
هم خير الناس بعد الأنبياء والرسل.
they were the best people after the prophets and the messengers.
وهم رأس جماعة المسلمين.
And they are the head and the leaders of the Muslim group, the Muslim Ummah.
وهم الأسوة والقدوة.
And they are the example to be replicated.
وقد ذكرنا يعني مسألة اتباع الصحابة.
We also have mentioned, Ikhwani, already the issue of following the companions, so we're not going to repeat that again.
ولهذا بين بعض العلماء
And for that reason, some of the scholars, they have explained
أن المقصود اتباع الخلفاء الراشدين وليس تقليدهم.
So, Ikhwani, this hadith against those people who have, why do we follow the companions? He said that the goal and the objective we understand is that we should have an ittiba', following the proofs that they have, those khulafa al-rashideen.
نعم هناك فرق بين الاتباع والتقليد.
So there is a difference between making al-ittiba' and al-taqleed.
فكان ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما
Like Abdullah ibn Abbas, he was
على سنة أبي بكر وعمر
following the sunnah of Abu Bakr and Umar,
ولكنه كان لا يقلد
but he didn't blindly follow them. He didn't follow them.
لا يقلدهما في كل قول أو اجتهاد أو رأي.
He didn't follow them in everything they said, in every ijtihad that they had, in every opinion that they made.
بل كان يقول
But he used to say,
يوشك أن تنزل عليكم حجارة من السماء.
he used to say to the people, rocks, boulders are about to fall out from the sky upon you people.
أقول قال رسول الله وتقولون قال أبو بكر وعمر.
When you ask me a question, I give you the answer. And I say, Allah said this, the Prophet said that. And then you say to me, but Abu Bakr said this, and Umar said that. So the rock's going to fall out from the sky on you because of that.
ولابن حزم رحمه الله كلام جميل في هذا.
And the great scholar in Islam, Imam ibn Hazm, he has some beautiful statements in this regard.
وخلاصته أنه قال هذا الحديث إما أن نقول أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أباح لنا اتباع سنة غير سنته.
So this hadith, according to Imam ibn Hazm, he said, it's possible that this hadith is an indication that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has allowed us to follow a sunnah other than his sunnah.
وهذا لا يقوله مسلم.
And a real Muslim doesn't say something like that.
فإذا لا بد أن المعنى أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أمرنا باتباع سنتهم لأن في سنتهم تعظيم أمر الدين والقيام بسنته والمحافظة على دينه وشريعته كما علمهم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ودلهم عليه.
So since the Prophet did not say that it's permissible for people to follow other than his sunnah, then it necessitates that the meaning of this hadith, the Khulafa Rashideen, it means that you have to follow the Prophet's sunnah, that you follow those Khulafa in having an ittiba, because those Khulafa, their goal and the objective was to make the ta'zeem of the religion. Their goal and the objective was to reverence the religion, to exalt the religion, to spread the good and to prevent the evil.
قال ابن حزم فأمرنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم باتباعهم في اقتدائهم بسنته.
So Ibn Hazm said the meaning of this hadith is that the Prophet ordered us sallallahu alaihi wasallam to follow the Khulafa Rashideen and having iqtida, resembling them in the way that they followed the religion.
بقيت عندنا مسألتان أحب أن أشير إليهما.
We have two more issues that the Sheikh said he would like to deal with them.
حتى ننهي إن شاء الله في الوقت ولا نطيل عليكم.
And so that we can finish in the time that has been allowed and we won't make it long upon you.
النقطة الأولى في مفهوم السنة.
The first point is the understanding of the Sunnah.
باختصار السنة تأتي بمعنى الحديث.
And the Sunnah comes with many meanings. One of the meanings of the Sunnah, the word Sunnah means hadith, the hadith.
فنقول القرآن والسنة.
So we'll say, for an example, the Quran and Sunnah, meaning hadith.
أي الآيات والأحاديث.
The ayat, Quran and hadith, the Sunnah.
والسنة تأتي بمعنى ما يقابل البدعة.
And also the second meaning of the Sunnah is that which is in contradiction or that which is opposite of innovation. This is the Sunnah.
فنقول السنة والبدعة.
So the second meaning, this is the Sunnah and that is bid'ah, innovation. It means that as well. Opposite of bid'ah.
في الاعتقاد.
Whether that bid'ah is in the ideology.
ولهذا العلماء سموا كتبهم في الاعتقاد.
And for that reason you find that the ulama who wrote the books about aqidah
باسم كتاب السنة مثل السنة لابن أبي عاصم مثلا.
They called their book Kitab as-Sunnah, like Al-Imam Ibn Abi Asim.
وكذلك في العبادات وما يلحق بها من المعاملات أيضا هذه تكون فيها السنن والمبتدعات.
Also in the mu'amalat and in the ibadat, the worship and the way that we deal with people, that also has sunnah in it and bid'ah as well in it.
ثم السنة تأتي بمعنى الأمر المستحب المرغوب.
And then the third meaning of the sunnah, the third meaning is that the sunnah means this thing is recommended, this thing is a good thing.
أي ليس فرضا ولا واجبا.
Meaning it's not fard, it's not an obligation, it's not fard, it's not wajib, but it's the sunnah, it's highly recommended.
وهذا في كتب الفقه.
And you'll find the usage of this word sunnah in this regard in the books of fiqh.
أي هو اصطلاح الفقهاء يقولون هذا فرض وهذا واجب وهذا سنة أي مستحب ومندوب.
So you'll find those fuqaha, the jurists, they'll say this ruling is wajib, this one is fard, this one is sunnah, meaning that it is something that is desirable, recommended.
إذن هذه ثلاثة معاني مختلفة للسنة.
So these three are the three different meanings of the word sunnah.
المعنى الرابع,
the fourth meaning of a sunnah,
وهو الأهم,
and it is the most important one,
بمعنى كل ما جاء به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من الدين فهو سنته.
And the meaning of the fourth one is everything that the Prophet brought salawatullahi wassalamu alayhi in this religion, then that is considered to be the sunnah. Everything that he brought.
فالدين كله,
so all of the religion, the whole complete religion,
هو سنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
it is the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
أي طريقته ومنهاجه ودعوته.
Meaning his way, his methodology, his da'wah.
وسلوكه في الاعتقادات والأعمال والأقوال والأخلاق.
His character, his aqidah, his personality, everything.
إخواني وأخواتي,
Brothers and sisters,
يجب علينا أن نفهم السنة بهذا المعنى العام والشامل.
it is imperative that we understand the meaning of the sunnah with this comprehensive understanding.
عندما نقول نحن من أهل السنة والجماعة أو ندعو إلى السنة أو نقول فلان ليس على السنة.
When we say that we're from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, or we call to the Sunnah, or this person is not from the Sunnah.
وكذلك عندما ندعو إلى السنة,
And also when we call to the Sunnah,
لابد أن يكون عندنا هذا المفهوم الشامل والمتكامل.
when we say these things, we should have this comprehensive understanding of the Sunnah, everything that the Prophet brought.
في العام الماضي تكلمت لكم عن مفهوم الشريعة.
Last year I talked to you about the understanding and the meaning of the Sharia. What is the Sharia?
وقلنا أن الشريعة هي الدين كله.
And I said to you that the Sharia is all of the religion, the whole deen.
ولكن عندما يكون عند الإنسان مفهوم خاطئ,
But when a person has an understanding that is wrong, mistaken,
يظن أن الشريعة معناها أحكام الحدود والقصاص والعقوبات.
a person may think that the Sharia is nothing except rules and regulations, capital punishments, and other types of punishments.
فهو لا يرى إلا هذا الجزء من الشريعة.
He understands the Sharia is only in that confined comprehension.
ولهذا هو يعيش في مجتمع إسلامي مثلا ويجد فيه المساجد والجمعة والجماعات ورمضان والناس يصلون ويقرؤون القرآن ويعظمون الدين. كل هذا ليس مهما عنده.
So this individual who believes that the Sharia, it just consists of the hudud, ahkam, punishments. That's all he understands the Sharia is. So he lives in an Islamic society, for an example. There's Salat, there's Jummah, there's Ramadan, the people are praying, the people are reading the Quran, people are doing other aspects of the deen. He doesn't make that connection because he doesn't see that as Sharia. Sharia to him is just hudud and uqubat only.
ولهذا يكفرهم ويستحل دماءهم.
So as a result of that, that individual, he'll say that they're kuffar. And after passing the ruling of takfir, he'll say that their blood is halal and their money is halal.
علما أن هذا القسم الذي هو يركز عليه هؤلاء الناس ليس باستطاعتهم القيام به.
And this individual believes and thinks like that. This aspect that he sees as being the Sharia, he doesn't understand, doesn't comprehend. Those people, the other people, they don't have the ability to change or to deal with the things that he sees as being the religion, Sharia.
هذا الخطأ وقع عند كثير من إخواننا من أهل السنة أيضا.
This mistake has happened with a lot of people, our brothers from Ahl Sunnah as well.
فيتم التركيز على جانب من السنة.
For you'll find the person from Ahl Sunnah giving his concentration, showing importance to an aspect of the Sunnah.
والمبالغة في التربية عليها والتركيز عليها.
And he exaggerates when it comes to giving tarbiyah concerning that aspect of what he sees as being the Sunnah. He'll exaggerate in regards to his da'wah to that particular thing that he sees as the Sunnah.
خاصة مع المسلمين الجدد والملتزمين الجدد.
Especially he does this with people who are new to Islam. They're new on the deen.
فيتم التركيز من البداية على اللحية والسواك والثوب والهدي الظاهر والسنن العملية.
For an example, he's from Ahl Sunnah and he made the mistake like the other people make this mistake about Sharia. So he gives concentration on the thobe, concentration on the lihya, concentration on the miswak. That's his understanding about this is the Sunnah, these things right here, the apparent manifestations of the Sunnah.
وهذه أمور مهمة لا شك فيها.
Sheikh said, no doubt, these issues are important.
وهي من السنة.
And they are from the Sunnah.
ولكن هناك أمور أعظم وأهم في السنة.
But there are some issues in the Sunnah. The Sunnah is everything the Prophet brought. There are some things that are more important than these important issues.
وأعلى ذلك تحقيق التوحيد.
And the highest thing, most important, is for the people to know of the Tawheed.
والإخلاص لله تعالى.
And having sincerity to Allah.
وتطهير القلب من الشرك والنفاق
and purifying one's heart from polytheism, from hypocrisy.
وملئه بالإخلاص والاحتساب والتوكل على الله والثقة به والمحبة والخشية.
And developing the heart to fear Allah, to rely on Allah, to be mindful of Allah. All of these issues.
أعمال هذه التي تسمى أعمال القلوب.
These are called the actions of the hearts.
وكذلك الاهتمام بالعبادات.
Also, from the Sunnah is having great concern for worship in Islam.
وتعظيم أمر الحلال والحرام.
And the issue of haram and halal, making it big too. That's from the Sunnah.
وتحقيق التقوى والاتباع.
And also the importance that should be placed upon at-taqwa and following, al-ittiba', following the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
فإن فعل الإنسان هذه الأشياء.
So if a person does these things,
لا شك أنه سيحرص أيضا على الهدي الظاهر والسنن العملية.
No doubt, if he does all of these things, he's going to pay attention to the guidance of those things that are apparent, like what was mentioned before, the beard, the thobe, all of these things.
ولكن إذا أخذ الدين بالظاهر دون إصلاح الباطن.
But if the individual only takes the outer manifestations of the deen without rectifying and paying attention with what's inside,
عند ذلك يصبح عنده خلل.
then there's going to be holes, there are going to be missing spaces, there are going to be problems.
ولهذا ترون مثلا.
And for that reason we find, for an example,
وأنا أذكر هذا من باب النصيحة لي ولكم وللمسلمين أجمعين.
and I'm mentioning this to you people from the angle of giving advice to myself and giving advice to you and the Muslims.
نجد مثلا قد يكون الأخ ملتزما بالهدي الظاهر.
This individual, for an example, he may be taking care of the appearance of Islam, the thobe, the beard. He's doing these things.
يعني الهدي الظاهر من اللحية والثوب والسواك ونحو ذلك وصفة الصلاة ونحو ذلك.
The way he prays, the sifa of the salah, he's taking care of the thobe, he has a beard, he uses miswak, he's taking care of those things.
ولو رأى شخصا حليق اللحية أو مخففا لحيته.
But if he sees an individual and that person cut his beard off, or that person has shortened his beard, trimmed it,
لا ذمه أو احتقره واستخف به.
if he sees that, he will look down at him, he would blame him, he would not mock him, but he'd make istighfaf, like look at his, like not consider him in a lowly way.
ولكن قد يكون هذا الأخ كما يعني تعرفون جميعا يحصل هذا يعني أن نلتقي بمثل هذه النماذج. يكون هذا الشخص في نفس الوقت يسيء معاملة زوجته.
And that individual, the individual who's taking care of the apparent things in the Sunnah, him himself, he may be doing, and I'm giving this as example because this is real, he may not be taking care of his own wife. He's not taking care of the rights of his own wife.
ولا يعني ينتبه ويستشعر أنه بهذا يخالف سنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And the same individual who's looking at this guy without the beard, or he's shorting his beard, he doesn't even think about, he doesn't even consider that he himself, it doesn't even come to his mind, hey, you yourself are not following the sunnah in regards to how you're supposed to be doing with your wife.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يقول
The Prophet, he used to say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
خيركم لأهله.
the best of you is the best of you to his family.
وأنا خيركم لأهله.
And I'm the best of you to my family.
رواه ابن حبان وهو
This
حديث
hadith
صحيح.
has been collected by Imam Ibn Hibban and it's authentic.
فهنا أن الإنسان إذا لم ينتبه إلى هذا المفهوم العظيم للسنة يفقد توازنه.
So the point here the Sheikh is saying about the fourth meaning of the sunnah is everything that the Prophet brought. He said here, if a person doesn't comprehend the sunnah, that is everything that the Prophet brought, then he's going to lose his balance. He's not going to have the balance that's necessary.
حتى كان بعض الكتاب يسألون، مرة قرأت مقالا يقول لماذا الإنسان العامي الذي هو قليل الالتزام بالسنة.
Some of the writers, the authors and the Sheikh said that he read this before. They write, why is it? What's this phenomenon that some of the people who they don't appear to be taking care of the sunnah.
يكون طيب الأخلاق وحسن السلوك ومحمودا.
They have good character and they have good behavior that is praiseworthy, and they're not taking care of the sunnah.
ولكن إذا جاء والتزم وتعلم السنة ويعني أطلق لحيته ولزم المسجد يسوء خلقه.
But then that same individual, once he becomes religious, and one time he wasn't religious, he wasn't practicing, and he had good character and so on. But when he starts practicing, he leaves his beard, starts taking care of different aspects of sunnah. Now his character becomes problematic. He doesn't have good character.
يصبح إنسانا سيئا.
He becomes an evil person.
وهذا صحيح يقع أحيانا.
Sheikh said, yeah, this is true. This happens sometime.
بسبب سوء التربية.
And that's because there's a bad tarbiyah going on with this person.
لأن هذا الشخص يظن أن هذا الظاهر هو المقصود.
It's because this individual, his understanding is that the apparent of what he's projecting, that's the goal and that's the objective, to look a certain way, to appear a certain way.
فيظن أنه قام بما يجب عليه.
So he thinks in his mind, okay, I'm looking the part, so I did what's my responsibility.
فيكون راضيا بحاله.
So he becomes comfortable and pleased with his condition.
أرجو أن لا تفهموا من هذا الكلام أننا نقلل من أهمية الهدي الظاهر.
The Sheikh said, Ikhwani, very important point. He said, I hope that you people do not understand from this what I'm saying. That we're minimizing the importance of the apparent of the sunnah. I'm not saying that. He's not saying that the apparent of the sunnah is not important. He's not saying that.
ولكن المقصود أن نعيد التوازن إلى الأشياء.
But the goal and the objective of this kalam and these examples is so that we can bring the balance back to the issue, to be balanced.
فاللحية ليس من أمور العقيدة والمنهج.
So the lihya, the beard, it's not from the affairs that are connected to aqidah and the minhaj.
ولكن إطلاق اللحية أمر واجب.
But leaving the beard and letting it grow is something that is wajib.
وحلق اللحية حرام بإجماع العلماء.
And cutting the beard is haram by the consensus of the ulama.
وفي ذلك أحاديث كثيرة تعرفونها إذ أمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بإعفاء اللحية وإطلاقها وتوفيرها.
And there are many ahadith that we have in this regard that the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to leave our beards and to let them grow.
فمن حلق لحيته فقد ارتكب معصية.
So the individual who cuts his beard, he has committed a sin.
ومن أطلق لحيته ويقصد بذلك طاعة الله سبحانه وتعالى فقد قام بأمر واجب يثاب عليه.
And the one who leaves his beard and his goal and objective is to obey Allah, then he has done what was wajib upon him and he'll get his reward with Allah.
وقد يكون الإنسان مرتكبا لمعصية ولكن عنده حسنات كثيرة خاصة في ما يتعلق بإيمانه وإخلاصه وصدقه مع الله سبحانه وتعالى.
And it may be that an individual is doing a particular sin in some aspect of Islam, but in other things, he's doing a good job in his belief in Allah, his faith in Allah, his truthfulness to Allah, his contract with Allah.
وقد يكون قائما بسنة أو طاعة ولكن عنده معاصي أخرى خاصة في أعمال القلوب مثل الحقد والحسد والكبر وغير ذلك.
And it may be that the other person, on the other hand, he may be taking care of aspects of Islam like the Sunnah, but he didn't take care of his heart. And he has all kind of disobediences to Allah in regards to his heart, the inner self, where he has jealousy, where he has hiqd. What is hiqd? Enmity. He has jealousy, he has enmity, he has arrogance, and other than that.
فنحن في حاجة إلى التوازن في أمورنا كلها وأن ننزل الأحكام والمسائل في منازلها ومواضعها الصحيحة.
So what we need, Ikhwani, is all of the people, both of these extremes or situations, we need to be balanced. Bring the situation back into the balance in all of our affairs.
ثم النقطة الأخيرة.
Now the last point, Ikhwani, last point.
وأرجو أن أنهيها في يعني 4 أو 5 دقائق.
And inshallah, I hope to be finished in 4 or 5 minutes.
أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أمرنا باتباع سنته في هذه الفرقة والاختلاف.
And the last point is that the Prophet ﷺ, he has ordered us to follow his sunnah during these times of ikhtilaf and these times of divisions, furqa.
فهذا هو الحل.
This is the answer.
إذن نفهم من هذا أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
So we understand from this that the Prophet
نهانا في هذه الاختلافات أن نكون طرفا في حزب أو فرقة أو طائفة أو مذهب متعصب ضد آخر.
He has told us and warned us from being with a madhab or on a madhab, to be with a particular hizb or a group, to have this ta'assub, fanatical following that helps to create this ikhtilaf in the furqa. Can't be with the people.
وللشيخ محمد بن صالح العثيمين رحمة الله عليه.
And then to the Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have rahmah on him.
كلام نفيس في هذا في تعليقه على هذا الحديث الأربعين النووية.
And Imam al-Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen has given the explanation of 40 hadith, and when he gave his explanation on this particular hadith that we're dealing with today, he has made a ta'liq and made some points or note on this issue here.
لكنه قد لا أستطيع أن أقرأه بطوله.
He said, I can't read to you all of what he said.
لكن الخلاصة أنه رحمه الله يقول.
He said, generally, just to summarize what he said.
يقول كل هذه الفرق اجعلها على اليسار.
He said, all of these groups.
وعليك بالأمام.
He said, put it on this side, put it on the left side, put it on the side, and you have to go straight.
وهو ما أرشد إليه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And going straight is what the Prophet ﷺ advised and ordered in this hadith.
عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين.
When he said, take my sunnah and the sunnah of Khulafa Rashidin.
ولا شك أن الواجب على جميع المسلمين أن يكون مذهبهم مذهب السلف.
He said, there's no doubt that what is wajib upon all of the Muslims is that the madhab has to be the madhab of the salaf, the righteous predecessors.
لا الانتماء إلى حزب معين.
Without being a member, without having intima, connecting yourself to a particular group.
يسمى السلفيين.
That group, he connects himself, he becomes a member of a group called the Salafis.
الواجب أن تكون الأمة الإسلامية مذهبها مذهب السلف الصالح.
What is wajib is that all of the members, the people of the Ummah of Islam, they have to be on the madhab, the way of the Salaf al-Salih.
لا التحزب إلى من يسمى السلفيون.
But they don't have to, the religion didn't tell them that they have to be a part of a group, a hizb that calls themselves Salafis.
ماذا يقصد الشيخ بهذا الكلام؟
So now, Ikhwani, the Sheikh said, what did the Sheikh Muhammed ibn Salih ibn Uthaymeen, what did he mean by this statement here?
ونحن نعلم أن الشيخ من أئمة الدعوة السلفية في هذا العصر.
And we know that the Sheikh was from the Imams who gave da'wah, who were upon a Salafiyah during this era. We know that.
وله كلام كثير في الأمر باتباع السلف.
And he has a lot of speech, a lot of stuff that he said when it comes to following the minhaj of the Salaf, where he supports that.
من كلامه رحمه الله
From what he said in supporting this,
أهل الأثر هم الذين اتبعوا الكتاب والسنة.
he said that the people of Al-Athar, Ahlul Athar, they're the people who follow the Kitab and the Sunnah.
وأقوال الصحابة رضي الله عنهم.
And the statements of the Sahaba.
وهذا لا يتأتى
And that
لا يحصل أو لا
does not happen.
لا يتأتى في أي فرقة من الفرق.
And that is not found. Following the Kitab and the Sunnah, that's not found with any of the other groups.
في أي فرقة من الفرق إلا على السلفيين.
He said that the Ahlul Athar, the people of the Athar, they're the people who follow the Kitab and the Sunnah. And this is not something that happens with any of the groups, except you find it with the people as Salafi, the Salafi people.
السلفيين.
The Salafis.
الذين التزموا طريق السلف.
They are the people who took care of, to follow, to be upon the way of the Salaf.
فالشيخ لم يتناقض في كلامه هنا وكلامه هناك.
So there's not a contradiction what the Sheikh said over there in the hadith, and for the hadith of Nawawi, he explained it, and what he's saying here in supporting the way of a Salafi.
ولكنه قصد رحمه الله
But he, may Allah have mercy upon him, he had a goal, he had an objective, he wanted to say something.
أن لا يكون اتباعنا للسلف الصالح
That the goal is for us not to be in our following the righteous predecessors.
على وجه التعصب والتشدد والتنطع.
We shouldn't follow them in a way where we have ta'assub, fanaticism towards that. And also in the way of being too rough and in the way of going too deep.
والبغي والظلم على الآخرين.
And in practicing following their way, you have evil and oppression towards other people.
ثم التعصب لشيخ أو عالم من العلماء.
And then we become people who are fanatical about one particular sheikh or group of scholars. We become fanatical only about them and with them.
وجعل ذلك هو الدعوة السلفية التي يمتحن الناس عليها.
And then the way that some people are in this issue, having that sheikh, having that ta'assub with the sheikh, being rough and tough, oppressing the people, then the people make that is a salafiyah, and what they understand. That's a salafiyah in their understanding, and that's why the people, and we're opposed to people based upon that.
فاتباعنا للسلف الصالح
So our following the righteous predecessors,
اتباع للصحابة الكرام.
it is following the companions,
ولأئمة الإسلام الأعلام.
and the scholars of Al-Islam.
وليس لحزب ولا لطائفة نتعصب لها وندور حولها.
And our following the Salaf al-Salih, it is not having a tahazzub to any group, being a part or a member of any group, and that's your understanding of following the Salaf al-Salih.
أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ينفعنا بما سمعنا ويجعله في ميزان حسناتنا ويجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه، وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.